Hello everybody, I'm honored to be here and it's a pleasure to join in this lively discussion. The panel who are joining me to discuss about the lively topic. So audience, welcome to this panel. It's been clear from the previous panel, the previous keynote speakers, that sustainability is important and education has a big role to play in sustainability. Education is clearly an essential tool for achieving sustainability. We also do have a moral obligation to ensure that the current population live in a healthy manner and we pass these treasures over to our future generations. I am honored to chair this panel and to present the high-profile panels to discuss about this important theme. In this panel, as I have mentioned, we now have 5 people and we'll go immediately to the panel discussions. If I can start with Mr. Prasanta Kumar. I think Dr. Prasanta Kumar would give us some history, the evolution and the growth of the concepts of sustainable development and education for sustainable development. Please, Dr. Kumar, tell us all what this is about. It's becoming very exciting and everybody wants to hear what the evolution has been like.
And good morning to all of you and to Dr. Swafi. At the outset, I thank the World Education Congress to include me as one of the panel members for this panel discussion. And to start the ball rolling, I want to give a brief background of education for sustainable development. And since morning, we heard many speakers, I think except one. I think from the body language and from the talk, but at least I could see that there is a concern for education. And most of the speakers, except the speaker for Singapore, who highlighted and portrayed the education system in Singapore. Otherwise, from all the previous speakers, one thing is very much prominent, that there is something to be done with education for which we can have sustainable development. So, and a very fitting topic, very wonderful topic for discussion, education for sustainable development, in short, ESD. As we can see from the topic, education for sustainable development, I think I can see that there are 2 segments in it. One is the sustainable development, then education for sustainable development. So first I'd like to take up the genesis of sustainable development, how it has evolved, and then I want to connect it with education for sustainable development.
Yeah, good morning all, my fellow panelists and distinguished gathering. I'm basically a student of branding. So anything I think, anything I say has a context of branding. Now we talk of professionalism, we talk of delivering value, adding value to education. Now let us treat education as a product. And product has several levels. There's a core product, there's a branded product, then there's a augmented product, there's a potential product. Actually, in this competitive and a very dynamic world, I feel when education started gathering attention of the business world, branding took place. And in order to differentiate my institution, so-called, from your institution, or one institution from another institution, from one university, good university from an average university, we started having differentiated offerings. Say in terms of infrastructure, AC classrooms, high-tech gadgets, LCD projectors, and so on. But then everybody had money and everybody started offering it. So we started talking of, say, IPR-related things, research and development. We started having patents. Fortunately, there is a patent for process, a thing called process patent also. So we even developed 120 ways of even different ways of boiling milk also. Unfortunately, the race went on, and somewhere in the process, to sustain education, we forgot the core product. I'll give you an example. Something like if I'm talking of selling carbonated soft drink, a carbonated soft drink has to, at the core, some liquid, some tasty liquid with carbon dioxide pass through it. You cannot alter it. Same goes with education.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I would be sharing some thoughts based on my background in postgraduate management education, but some of what I would share with you could as well be implemented at both the undergraduate and the school levels. A couple of years ago, when we at the Goa Institute of Management realized the need to impart ideas of sustainability in the minds of our students during their 2 years in the institute, we first realized that we needed a framework. How do you build sustainability into the curriculum in a manner that is itself sustainable? And so one of the first things that we did was that we became a founder life member of the UN Global Compact Network in India, and we helped them set up the PRIME chapter in India. PRIME is Principles of Responsible Management Education, which requires that we build in, which provides us a framework and requires that we build in sustainability throughout our management curriculum. We have in-house a Center for Social Sensitivity and Action, and this center was actually tasked with ensuring that the ideas of sustainability permeate through the entire curriculum and to the minds of every student. So we thought that the best way to achieve this was to start with the freshers, with the first year students whose attitudes are a lot more open and who are willing to go out into the field.
I come from an institute where we get participants from government who have done about 20 years of service or who have just joined in. So we've got two varieties, one are absolute freshers, others who have done about 15 years plus for long-term programs. That is more than 6 months program they come for. And what we've done is that, you are, as you were saying, sir, that it's very easy for people to read, understand and speak, but not actually do. So we basically take it to them that you have to do something so that you understand and you implement, you're working. Not just that you can learn or write or whatever. So we have formed these groups of the participants who are supposed to pick up an area, whether it's the villages nearby or their own community where they live or the institute. As like in the morning, Madam Parekh had spoken, and also a VC from Carleton University, that they have to pick up a Karya Kshetra, work area, where they are supposed to read, learn, apply and find a solution. Not give a solution, implement. So they are part of that, and therefore that whatever they learn goes into their skin. And when they talk to others, it is not just a mere not talking, but actually implementing something. And one of the things that I had asked this, one of the groups to do was to go to the schools and teach the small children something that they will stick in their mind. And after about a month's exercise, we distributed toffees to children. And we found that almost 99% children kept the wrapper in the pocket when they were leaving the school. They didn't throw it out. So these people, I'm saying that all these sustainable development goals, these groups work on them, pick up one, find out actionable point, work on that so that it goes in the system. They've implemented it in their community or institute or villages nearby. That's all. Make sure that this actually goes under the skin or not just a talking matter. Sir.
Thank you, sir. And a very good afternoon to all of you. Basically, after listening to experts from various fields, I would say that a teacher or an educationist is one who is on the constant path of learning, you know. Whenever we are teaching, every day is a new learning for us. I taught in Delhi for a number of years, for more than 20 years, but now after moving to Oman, where I've been for last 9 years, and it has been a great learning for me. So I just share with you what I learned as a teacher during these last 9 years. I feel that any institute which is teaching or which is imparting research, they all have to set a mission first and then a vision. You know, they all have a proper vision what they really want to achieve. And no institute can grow if they don't have a sound foundation of research. And basically, from my background in that medical college teaching, I feel a lot of difference between how we teach, we have been teaching in last so many years, and what really needs to be changed now. So in management schools, most of them, they've already been focusing on case-based learning and problem-based learning, which has not been the method in most of institutions which are imparting medical education. And that was a big learning for me when I realized, because our institute there in Oman, it has academic partnership with the West Virginia University, US, and they used to send us the problem-based learning, actual patient studies. And when we give these studies to a group of students, and how they solve the cases, even when they're at the undergraduate level, and how they will come prepared before the next class, how they will do a lot of literature survey, and that is a great learning for me also. And I found that teaching becomes so much effective when it is combined with all the problem-based learning things and the case-based learning.
The topic for education for sustainable development has come at a very right time today. The country is in the process of evolving a national education policy. I had a fortune of a team which worked very hard for 2 years and submitted some draft to the Ministry of HRD. And we were also called by the committee set up by Ministry of HRD headed by TSR Subramaniam to present our viewpoints, and we had a very fruitful meeting for 1 hour. There are two basic issues when we are talking about education for sustainable development. These are micro issues and macro issues. In India, we have been talking about education policy being set by Mekale, which disturbed the Guru Shishya Parampara, which Indraji talked about in the beginning. In US, when they were talking about education policy in 1925 to 1935, John Dewey, he presented a viewpoint that what kind of education should be there in US, and that is what US has been following. And most of the world is following that pattern. And the result of these two kind of thinkings are there. Because of that, now we are talking about education for sustainable development. Because in the current framework, the focus is on individual. That individual has to get all the benefits, best lifestyle, and best money, whatever best is possible. So individual is the focus. In the process, what we have forgotten is individual is part of the family. And for family to survive, some individuals who are part of the family will have to sacrifice something to keep the family together. Family is part of the community. If the community has to survive, families within that community have to sacrifice something. Community is part of the nation. All those communities will have to sacrifice something to keep the nation strong. Nation is part of the global world. The world, if has to survive, all the nations have to sacrifice something. That is what we are talking about, various targets in this Paris Convention. Every country has to sacrifice something so that the world survives. And if the world has to survive, we have to talk about the Prakriti, nature. If the nature doesn't survive, and there are all this kind of weather conditions what we see today. So from individual to the nature, this journey is not being considered in the current education system.